we're just going to do a third example of how to calculate an annual interest rate on a payday loan. So there were 2 examples in the video that you watched. This is just a third example in case you needed a little extra explanation. So this question says, a payday loan company offers $200 for a fee of $20 for 2 weeks, which is 14 days. So that means that they lent you $200. You had to pay an additional fee of $20 to borrow that money, so that when you pay it back, you are paying back $220. And you have to pay it back within 2 weeks, which is 14 days. So what we're going to do is walk through how you would figure out what the annual interest rate is. So the first thing you need to do is figure out what is $20 out of $200. What percent is that? So I'm going to take 20 and divide it by 200, right? I want to figure out what percent is that out of 200. And to make it an actual percent, I have to multiply that by 100. So I'm going to take my calculator. I'm going to do 20 divided by 200 and then times that by 100. And I got 10. So that means this is 10%. So the interest that got charged here is 10% interest. But the thing is that that's not 10% per year. That is 10% for 2 weeks. So I need to figure out what is that in a full year. So what makes this tricky is that there aren't exactly 26 weeks in a year. Sorry, 52. There are 52 weeks in a year. I was thinking about every 2-week periods. So there are 52 weeks in a year, but it's not exactly 52 weeks. It's like 52 and a little bit. So we want to try to figure out, using the number of days, how many 2-week or 14-day periods are there in an average year. So most years have 365 days. Now, a leap year, and this is a leap year this year, have 366 because there's 1 extra day. But we're going to do this with 365. So I'm going to take 365 days in a year, and I'm going to divide that by 14 days to figure out how many 2-week periods are there in 365 days. So I'm going to, on my calculator, do 365 divided by 14, and I get that there are 26.0714287. So I'm actually going to write that whole number down. I know in the video they rounded it a little bit, and that's okay. But I'd like to be as accurate as possible. So what this part did was tell me in 1 year, how many 14-day periods are there? There are 26 and a little bit. So I know that this is 10% for 2 weeks. And there are going to be 26.07 2-week periods. So I'm going to take these two numbers and multiply them together. So I'm going to take 10 times 26.0714287, and I'm going to multiply those together. So I already have this number on my calculator. I'm just going to multiply it by 10, and I get 260. And because this is my final answer, I think I'm going to round it. I've got 2 decimal places would be 7-1. The next number is a 4, which means we leave it as a 7-1. So that means they are charging me 260.71% per year interest. So that means, therefore, they charge 260.71% interest. That's, well, I'll write per year. That's a lot of interest. So if you think about a bank account gives you maybe, if you're lucky, 1% interest. And a credit card, which is a pretty high interest rate, charges 19.99% interest. So 260.71, that is crazy. That's a lot of money. Anyways, that's just a quick recap of how I calculated. We took the interest, the fee they charged, we divided it by how much money we lent. We figured out what percent that was. That's 10%. Then I figured out how many 14-day periods are there in the 365 days in a year. And we got this number here. And then because this is how much it is for 2 weeks, and there are this many 2-week periods in a year, we multiplied those together to get that our interest rate is 260.71%. So now you should try your calculation. And that's it for us.